hundreds of thousands of dollars for their county roads. Just ask your road commissioners because they well know the amount. Our cities will get thousands of dollars for their roads also. In fact, Franklin, Moore, and Marion County will receive more money than the people who live in those counties will pay in gas, diesel taxes on a net income. So he says, stay tuned as this bill moves through the committee system eventually to the House floor. So we'll learn more, I'm sure, with him tomorrow, as he'll be here on the show at 9 o'clock tomorrow to bring us more up to date on what's going on. But it looks like that they're now pushing towards the gas tax and not on any other form of taxation.
Okay.
Is what they're looking
right.
at.
I really intended to last night or this morning check in, get online, and see what was going on with it, but I ran out of time. So thank you. Helen, you have something for us, I believe, so here's Helen Stapleton.
All right, so everybody come out April 1st at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock at the Franklin County Annex for our Democratic Party reorganization. Please consider running for office. I'm tired of being the secretary. I've been doing it for about 8 years now.
Well, you shouldn't be so good at it.
Well,
she is good at it too.
We could use a new one or a new anyone. But anyway, and also if the time that we meet, Monday nights at 5, is not convenient for you, every 2 years at our reorganization is when we decide when we're going to meet. So we could meet Saturday morning, anytime, whatever is most convenient for the people who show up in it. And, the party is who shows up. That's what we do. If you have an idea, if there's something you really want to work on and do, show up, and that's what we'll do, So, anyway. That's April 1st, 11 o'clock at the Franklin County Annex. All Democrats show up, please. Okay, so what's been on my mind a lot is the budget that the Trump administration has put out. What this budget is doing is it's cutting services that the most vulnerable among us, and, well, not even the most vulnerable, but everybody uses. We all benefit from what scientists do. Anyone who's talking or using a cell phone today, thank you, scientists. When we know when a tornado's coming, thank you, scientists. Well, they're trying to cut publicly funded science that we will all use. They want to cut PBS. They want to cut Meals on Wheels. All these things that people rely on. And so they're cutting services that people need, and they're sending it to places that we don't need. Yes, we need a military. We need a strong military. But guess what, y'all? We already have a strong military. We already have a very strong military. And in fact, we spend over $600 billion on our military every year. If you combine what 12 countries, the next 12 biggest militaries spend, that's what we spend. So it's not like we're weak. We're very strong. The military budget of China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, the United Kingdom, India, Japan, France, Germany, South Korea, Australia, Brazil, and Italy. Add up all those countries' military budgets, and that's what our military budget is. So I believe in a strong military. I want us to be safe, but we already are spending enough on the military. So for me to think about cutting some vital program, vital to people's survival, like Meals on Wheels, in order to give it to a defense contractor to make to spend more on our military, is just, I just can't believe in that. I'm sorry. And Mulvaney, he's somebody that I don't know what his official role in the Trump administration is, but he says, well, we can't give to Meals on Wheels because there's no quote unquote measurable outcomes. Well, how about people are alive? I mean, goodness. I mean, does everything have to be measured in GDP or test scores? These Meals on Wheels is keeping people alive. And yeah, you can't measure the economic benefit to society on that, but Okay, and then another thing, remark I heard about Meals on Wheels was, why does the government have to fund that? Well, they do rely a lot on private donations, but the people let people do what they do well. If you're good at organizing a Meals on Wheels program, you're good at getting out to the people. Why should you also then have to spend all your time on fundraising? The money that they get from the government, it frees them up to do what they do, which is deliver life-saving meals to people who otherwise would go hungry or would eat, probably, I don't know, not such nutritious food. So, yeah, we could rely more on volunteers and voluntary donations, but then you're just, like I said, making people having to spend their time fundraising instead of actually providing the service. And, okay, this is another thing that has just made me insane. Before I was on the county commission voted to defund Little League and all the sports that are senior center, different things like that. They cut all county funding to Little League. So now parents who mom and dad both work full time, and yet they're still volunteering to coach and organize the team. Now, in addition to that, they're already so stressed out, so busy. It takes so much time to coach, to organize these games, to order the uniforms, all this. So now, on top of all that we're asking of volunteers, they have to get out and fundraise too. And I just don't think that's right. Why can't the county commission fund these sports? We want kids to play sports. It's something we want to encourage. If parents have to fundraise on top of everything else they're doing, working full-time, raising kids, coaching, organizing these complicated schedules for the games, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And then they have to fundraise on top of that. They're going to have a hard time finding volunteers who want to do that. So let's encourage the things we want to see in our society, down at the county level, meaning Little League. On the national level, science. We want to see science funded. We want to see people get Meals on Wheels if they can't afford, if they're housebound, they can't afford to get out and, cook a balanced meal every day. And PBS, we would love, I remember everything I learned from Sesame Street as a child. I really do. And if you don't have cable, if you can't afford cable, that is your only option. And I've heard people make the argument, well, they should be self-supporting. Yes, but that would mean commercials. When you watch TV, every 10 minutes there's a commercial. Well, I'm a mother, and I feel like in this society our kids are marketed to 24/7. Everywhere you go, someone's trying to sell your kids something, some kind of toy, some kind of candy. And when you watch those channels like Nick and I don't even remember what the kids' channels are anymore, Cartoon Network, every second they're being marketed some new toy, some new candy, some new kind of junk food. And so as a parent, you're constantly having to say, no, you can't have that, you can't, you know what I mean? And so PBS is the only place where kids can watch TV, learn something, be entertained, and not be constantly being sold stuff that they don't need, and then putting parents in the position of having to always be saying no. So yes, we could make PBS a for-profit thing, but like I said, that would, if we want kids to learn, I learned the alphabet from watching Sesame Street before I ever started school. If we want that, kids to learn these things, then why not fund PBS? It's a teeny tiny little part of our income. What do you think, Nancy?
Well, their overall budget to me is just disastrous, along with the health care bill that I've been paying particular attention to, and even this morning was watching. It's of course, it's interesting. All we can do at this point is just sit, and in fact, that's what the Democrats in Congress do. Just sitting back, and actually, right now, we've got the Goliaths. It's instead of David versus Goliath on the health care, we have it appears to be Congressman Ryan and the president on one side, and the Freedom Caucus on the other. And of course, the president and Paul Ryan are trying to get this bill passed, and the Freedom Caucus is saying, "Oh no, wait a minute! You're not going far enough. Cutting. You've still got some Obamacare things.
Too nice.
It's too nice. cut. You got to cut out maternity benefits and benefits to be. You got to make it a little bit more cruel.
Oh.
I mean, actually, what they're proposing is cutting some benefits that are in Obamacare to try to get it through the Freedom Caucus. But an interesting thing that I read this morning and first heard about last night actually was the famous billionaire Koch brothers, who inherited their fortune to begin with, and of course have made billions since they inherited. Don't know what it means to get up and go to work like we do. Anyway, they're billionaires, and I was reading just this morning that they have offered to fund any of these opposers, any Republican, I guess, that opposes this plan, because President Trump threatened them a couple of days ago, hey, you don't vote for this bill, you won't get reelected out there at the midterm. So Koch brothers step in, another Goliath, and says, hey, just don't worry about it. If you vote against this bill, we'll fund you out there in a primary.
I thought the Koch brothers were against it, against the ACA.
Well, they are. Yes. In fact, in Nashville, right here in Tennessee, the Americans for Prosperity, an arm of the Koch brothers, supported by the Koch brothers, took credit for defeating Governor Haslam's Medicaid expansion back 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, they took credit for it. They had enough Tennessee legislators in their pocket that they had funded, that they, regardless of people that were sick and dying, and we would tell them, show them, give them examples. Nope, sorry about that. Big government, you can't take this government money. And really, what it was, they were in the pockets of Americans for Prosperity. Anyway, back to on the Nashville level, Americans for Prosperity, Koch brothers, are against this bill that's coming up now, and are saying they'll fund any of this Freedom Caucus in Nashville, in Congress, in Washington, that will vote against it. So you're probably going to see just today, I was noticing people that have said they were going to be for it, or they were Republican congressmen, they're all of a sudden going to vote no. Why? Well, I suspect they see out here where the Koch brothers. So if it weren't so tragic and the results out there it's entertaining really to see what's going on. And all we can do at this point is just sit back and see what happens. But realistically, and this is sad, but whatever they do, this Republican Congress, President Trump, it's going to be bad. It's bad now, and I keep hearing it's bad for low-income people, sick people, older people, the very people that need it. But guess what? There are billions of dollars of tax cuts in there for wealthy people.
Oh, yeah.
Benefits for wealthy
They're
people.
always looking
And in
out for the
fact,
millionaires.
Senator Bernie Sanders, I was watching last night, he made the statement. He said, this is not a health care bill. He said it is a tax cut for the wealthy, wrapped around, and to make it look like a health care bill. That's what they're doing. And so, in my plea for people, if you're not a Democrat already, and now some Republicans have hearts and you have compassion, we need to get ready. People are going to be hurting even more than they were. Sick people, low-income people, and it's bad enough in Tennessee now. We should have done the Tennessee Medicaid expansion, we didn't. There are people out there now with no health insurance because
Who are working 40 hours or
yes,
more a week.
but if they don't fit
Working
in,
people,
exactly,
not bums.
if they happen not to have enough income to qualify for the tax credits or qualify for one of the categories of Medicaid at this point, they're out of luck. They're just and expansion of Medicaid would have helped them. Mm-hmm. And let's face it, you want to think when I hear what they're talking about now with regard to the cuts and what's going to happen to people, I'm in disbelief almost. I thought, surely not. But then I think of what they did in Nashville, what our Nashville legislature has done and still continues to do, and that is refuse to expand Medicaid so everyone can have insurance. So, folks, get out there, come to the Democratic Party reorganization on April the 1st, get involved.
Call your legislator.
Yes.
Call your senator and call your legislator and ask them to please not pass this budget, to please not overturn the ACA, the Affordable Care Act.
And I was hearing just I was hearing just yesterday that Congressman Scott DeJarlais was on the fence still, and I was getting letters from emails from Tennessee Justice Center, calls Congressman DeJarlais' office, and I don't know, but if the Koch brothers is putting money out there, that'll affect what a lot of people do.
And basically, I just feel like this new budget, is comforting the comfortable and afflicting the afflicted. That's what it is. It's making
sadly.
life. It's giving. We're cutting things that people desperately need, like science, like education, like PBS, like Meals on Wheels. It's cutting things that people rely on and need, and it's giving to the defense contractors, and it's giving tax cuts to billionaires on your back. And I just don't think that's right. Nancy, the other thing I wanted to talk about today was regulations, because Trump vowed that for every new regulation they added, that they would cut two. And that sounds logical, sure, everybody has heard of some kind of silly regulation out there that we probably don't need to have, but if you make that just a... and by the way, if anybody wants to call in who has any thoughts about Trump's budget, please call in. What is the number?
967-2201.
Yeah, because we would love to hear what the public's thinking. But, okay, about regulations. He says he's going to cut two regulations for every new regulation he's adding. And that, like I said, that sounds logical enough, but, okay, I'm just going to give a little small example. I have a son, he's 14, he has rules. Now, nobody likes regulations. Oh, that's rules, you're telling me what to do, blah, blah, blah. But, my son, everybody's children has rules. He has to be off of screens by 9:30. He has to do a chore every day, like unloading the dishwasher, whatever. He has to, he can't do drugs. He has to do his homework every day. So those are his regulations, his rules, or whatever. Soon he's going to be driving, and I'm going to have to come up with some new rules about driving. So which of those two rules that I already have do I get rid of in order to, I still want him to do his chores. I still want him to be off of screens by 9:30 at night. I still want him to do his homework every day. I'm not going to cut two so that I can add another one. And life is always changing, and so there are new regulations that need to be added. The internet has given us a whole new realm of situations that could arise that might need regulation. So just to blanketly say, oh, we're going to get rid of blah blah blah, two regulations for every new one we add, just really doesn't make sense. I do agree totally with going through each department and finding things that are obsolete, that we may not need anymore. And one department may have, say, 20 silly regulations. Another department might not have any regulations that don't make sense. So just to say we're going to get rid of two for every one we add, it's it's a simplistic way of thinking. You know what I mean? It's just not, anyway. But let me tell y'all some of the regulations that, that the Trump administration has proposed. They're saying that they're trying to, so one man's regulation is another man's protection. Okay? You know, if you're regulating AT&T or the telecommunications industry, to them, to an AT&T agent, it's a regulation. But to you, the consumer, it's a protection, right? You know, so this is one regulation they're getting rid of. Big, huge companies like Verizon and AT&T will no longer have to take reasonable measures to ensure that their customers' social security numbers, web browsing history, and other personal information are not stolen or accidentally released. All right, so that's a protection to you, the consumer, that they can't give away your private information like your social security numbers. Well, the Trump administration is saying, no, y'all don't have to do that anymore. That's a burden on you. So that's a regulation to AT&T, but to us, the consumers, it's a protection. And I would like that protection. I would like to know that AT&T, who I do a lot of business with, is not going to give away my browsing history. Not that there would be anything objectionable there, I hope, but that they wouldn't give away my browsing history, that they wouldn't give away my social security number or sell my email address
But all right,
to somebody.
if you're not happy with that practice from AT&T and Verizon and stuff, can you not find a carrier that does not?
Well, I know, but
do
if
that?
every
But
company
if everybody
is under
started
that
dropping
regulation.
them, if everybody, I understand what you're saying. If everybody gets to do it, then cool. But if there's a smart person out there that goes, hey, we're not going to do that, and America floods to them, you know, and all of a sudden the AT&T, these guys are going, wait a minute, you know, you're
Well,
hurting my pocketbook,
Yeah,
you know.
that's the libertarian philosophy, is let's not have regulations and let the consumer decide. But okay, yeah, it would require like hours of researching to find it. Around here, the only two that really work are Verizon and AT&T, so we don't really have a lot of choice anyway. I mean, those are the only two that provide service where we live, so I'm pretty much stuck between those two anyway. And they know they've got you. So, but yeah, if you want to spend hours and hours researching the better company, if you want to take a day off of work and go and have all your phone plans switched over, it's a huge hassle. Believe me, I've wanted to quit AT&T so many times, but I'm just like, oh God, do I really want to take a day off work, bring all my kids' phones with me, my husband's phone, have to meet a technician at the house so that he can switch everything over. I mean, it's a big hassle. So I've stuck with AT&T just because I don't want to deal with all that hassle. I want my government to protect me from things like that. I don't want everybody to have to go around and shopping around for a better company that's not going to screw me. You know, I don't feel like I should have to do that. But, okay, here's another regulation he's removing from Wall Street that, to us, the consumer, is a protection. Wall Street banks like Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan Chase will no longer be punished for collecting extra money from customers to cover potential losses from certain kinds of high-risk trades that helped unleash the 2008 financial crisis. So these regulations they're putting on Wall Street are to protect us, the consumers. Okay, I'm going to go there, y'all. Guns. I am for the Second Amendment. I'm going to tell y'all that, okay? We have a gun. I'm not against guns. But I don't want crazy people having guns, okay? And one of the regulations that they have just removed is that if you are deemed by Social Security to be mentally incompetent, that means you are so mentally incompetent that you have to have a custodian who will manage your SSI benefits that you get. You're too incompetent to have your own checking account or bank account. You're deemed that incompetent. To get deemed mentally incompetent by Social Security, you have to jump through all sorts of hoops and prove just how crazy you are, or however, I don't know the nice way to say it, mentally ill or whatever. These are people with histories of suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation. You know, these are not to be deemed mentally incompetent by Social Security. You have to have a reason for it. You can't just be someone who's like mildly anxious, you know. And they have just passed a law saying that those people can now get guns. That scares me, y'all. I want someone like you. You're fine to have a gun, but I don't want someone who is considered yeah. Okay. I don't want someone who's considered so incompetent that they can't even have their own bank account owning a gun. I'm sorry, that just really freaks me out. So again, that's a protection for me, put a regulation on the mentally incompetent people. You know, I'm sorry, but I don't think that's right. Another thing they're trying to do is is make it so that silencers are legal.
Didn't that pass in,
They're working
was
on
it Tennessee or was there a state that passed it or something like that? I can't remember. I heard something on the news this week about silencers.
If there's a gun going off somewhere, I want to know. I want to be able to hear it. So like I said, I'm not against guns. I mean, I want to protect myself too if I need to. I want normal people to be able to have guns. But, you know, there is some common ground. There has to be some common ground.
Common sense.
Common sense.
If you just put the common sense factor, apply that to about everything we do, it changes things. Just don't be crazy.
They're changing the law for officers that have concealed weapons going to events to where it's a ticketed event. They're allowed to carry their guns, you know, hidden on their bodies when they go to these
If you're
events,
an officer,
which
that's
I think
fine.
is very good because who knows when they need backup at some of these events, the way things are going nowadays. Good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, I just wanted to comment about the gun situation.
All right.
I feel like the Republicans, the Libertarians, want to go back to the days of the old West, where everybody packed a gun on their hip, and we had wild animals running through the streets, so they thought they needed them. And we just have to use common sense, which Nancy said. And I just don't understand why people are falling for what the NRA is pushing on this society. They're even going over to Russia now, the NRA are. And it wouldn't surprise me if they're involved in all this mess with Trump and the Russian influence, the NRA, because they have money out the yin. And another thing, we want to get off the guns. The EPA is another thing that the Republicans are trying to do away with.
I was just fixing to get to that.
Okay. I'll shut up and let you go ahead and do it.
Well, go ahead and give us your opinion.
But the EPA is a necessary organization or cabinet in our country, and Trump wants to do away with it, and he put somebody in charge that doesn't even believe in climate change, global warming, whatever you want to call it. Things are changing, and we do need people up there that believe in science. So I'll hang up and let you all carry on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, that was actually just what I was fixing to get to, is another regulation that the Trump administration has rolled back, but that a consumer might consider a protection. So the coal industry can now dump coal tailings in our water. They have just rolled back the regulation that says you can no longer dump coal tailings into streams. Now, as a drinker of water, I consider that a protection. I would like my water to not have coal in it. Yeah, and then the next thing I was going to get to is the fact that they want to terminate the EPA. Just go back, y'all, and Google pictures of what New York City looked like, of what all these places looked like, rivers catching on fire before Nixon started the EPA in 1973. They have done amazing work cleaning up this country. And maybe we feel like we don't need them anymore because they've done such a good job. But things in the 70s looked bad. Not only like what you could see with your eyes, but stuff in the air. The smog was so bad. And there's still so much to do. There's still so much to do. And so I think the EPA is helping me to have clean air and clean water for my kids. You know, I have kids. I want the world to be clean and better for them.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning. Hey, y'all know you're so about the guns and things. I like y'all. Stupid people shouldn't have them. But what we do about the people that's got the automobiles that's running into the people, it's killing them, you know. And that's my comment about that. Yeah, I appreciate it, and I thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, that's terrible that people are doing that, but we can't start taking away cars from everybody. I mean, more people die in car accidents probably than anything, but unfortunately we're in a world where everybody needs a car, and so I don't see banning all cars. But a car does a lot more things besides kill people. It takes you to work. I mean, a gun in the hand of a mentally ill person is probably going to do mischief. Whereas a car, I don't know.
Well, it's just getting back to the common sense factor. What really sort of blows my mind is the NRA, as I think it's undisputed. It's indisputable. Maybe that's sort. They've just got tons of money. They're able to. They have a strong lobbying influence, and of course are putting money out to all our congressmen and congresswomen probably. But they are so. They've got to be just wealthy beyond belief. Have money and influence. And it just sort of blows my mind. Why do they keep on pressing things like that are so unnecessary that they don't really? They got it. They're getting all sorts of at the state level, our state anyway, and national level. They get about anything they want passed. And why go so far as you indicated, have guns in the hands of a mentally ill person? It's that's leaving common sense out of it.
Anything that will result in more gun sales, that's all they care about. And that's, and then silencers, that's a whole nother area of money to be made. And the reason why they're justifying letting the mentally ill have guns is they say that it stigmatizes mental illness. And they feel like they need to protect the rights of the mentally ill.
They're very creative in their reasoning for things.
And
like
about
that.
the silencers, they're saying it's to protect the hearing of gun owners. Well, let's have silencers for leaf blowers. How about and jackhammers and weed eaters? Those hurt people's ears too. Anyway, that is a little bit creative in the thing. Okay, but so here is another regulation that do we have a call? Okay, Go ahead.
And you're on the air.
Good morning. Sitting here enjoying y'all's conversation, and something I've been puzzled about, I wondered about. The Republicans are dead set against this back to health care on this mandate because they say it's wrong for various reasons. And what I'm wondering is, how come it can be wrong to have a mandate on health care when if you get an automobile, there's a law, you've got to have liability insurance?
Exactly.
That's right. You got it.
Exactly. But you know what? Why even have this mandate? Why not just have universal health care just like Canada, England, every other civilized country in the world. You
I
know,
agree with you 100%.
you know, if you think about it, when you go to the doctor's office or a hospital, half of the people working there are just pushing paper. They're just pushing paper. They are not delivering health care. They're dealing with billing. They're dealing with insurance companies. They're dealing with money. When you go to a doctor's office in England or Canada, there's probably one person in there dealing with finances and paperwork. Everybody else is delivering health care. And at our doctor's offices, I would say at least a fourth of the staff there is just dealing with paperwork because we have this crazy, complicated system. And, you know, in England and Germany and other countries, they have, you know, universal health care for everybody. But if you are richer and you want to have a fancy private doctor, you can do that, you know. And we're the richest country in the world. We are the richest country in the world. We can afford this. We can afford this. And if you want a super fancy special doctor, then pay for it. But I believe everybody should have health care. I just don't know, like, what amount of money is it worth it to you to not see people die? Like, okay, like, suppose if someone said if you just spent $5 a month for the satisfaction of knowing that your neighbors and friends aren't going to die unnecessarily, like, I'd spend it, you know?
Right.
And it would be cheaper because, like I said, with the current system, with people not having health insurance, they're going to go to the ER, and the ERs has to treat them, and then people with insurance are going to get stuck with the bill. So we're still paying for it. So why not just, anyway, whatever. Take your next call.
Thanks for calling, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ask my question, but I appreciate
Oh,
your
wait,
time.
I'm sorry. What was your question then?
Well, I don't understand why it's so bad wrong that you got this mandate that requires people to have insurance, and then you go out here, if you drive an automobile, it's a law, you've got to have insurance liability.
That's right. And when they wrote, when they years ago when they wrote the Obamacare bill, they had to somehow have the premiums have a balance there where healthy people would buy insurance, so the insurance companies would sell the premiums, and they had this balancing thing they did that was good, and of course in a way, they're getting rid of that, but they're writing it back into this new bill by saying if you go without insurance for, I believe, 60 days or 62 days, then your premium will go up 30%. It all has to do with
That's in the new bill?
It's the new bill. That all has to do with everything, sadly, money. Who has the money to get all these acts passed, getting rid of regulations? That helps the businesses that are making money. And I want to put a plug in here again for the Democratic Party. It's my understanding that a reason that the famous rich wealthy Koch brothers couldn't stand Obama, got crossways with him, was because of regulations he put into effect that had to do with the environment, that made their operations, what they were doing, which had to do with oil and coal and so forth. But that put the hurt on them, so therefore they have fought Obama and the Democrats with everything they got in them.
All right. Did we get your answer?
Well, yeah, one more point. I'm for this universal health care, and the people that opposed to it, all my taxes would go way up. Well, my taxes would go up $4,000 or $5,000 a year, and I'd still be money ahead, and everybody would have insurance.
Right.
I mean, yeah,
point.
my family spends easily $15,000 a year on health insurance, on health care costs. That's my.
All right. Thanks for calling, okay?
Hey, thank you for your time, sir.
All right. Good morning. You're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you ladies is looking for a way to make donations or something like that.
Way to make donations for what? Health care?
Yeah, just any kind of help to help somebody or something like that.
I want to know if there's
Oh, yeah.
any way for people to make donations to help people that are in need.
First thing that comes to mind is Volunteers in Medicine right here in Winchester.
Talking to the mic.
Oh, okay. I thought it was. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind right off, and the easy thing to do, is Volunteers in Medicine right here in Winchester. That was started by Dr. Tommy Smith years ago. They help people, take care of people who have no insurance, and they also would be glad to get donations. And I don't know their number offhand, but my number is 962-4982. Call me a little bit later, and I'll give you the information, and maybe some other ideas on where you could make donations.
All right. I know maybe a way that people can maybe make some money, for organizations or something like that. I got some trees around my house. I'd be glad to give somebody if they could get somebody somebody to cut it and just help with them and get the money out of them. I'd be more glad to give them to somebody.
All right.
What's your phone number? Maybe somebody listening out there can give you a call about those trees. What's your phone number?
It's 931-691-4031.
691-4031.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks for calling. Bye. I just stumbled across a post which has nothing to do with anything you're talking about, but Governor Haslam just gave $6.2 million in site development grants in Tennessee, and the Moon property received $209,300 for completion of that geo-study survey that they're talking about. So I just threw that out there. I don't know if
good deal.
so I don't know if it's good or not, to be honest.
Wait a minute, I don't either. But it sounds like that there's a possibility there. You always have to look at these grants and see how much matching you have to do.
No, it's a nice grant. I just don't know if the property is going to work out for what they want it to do. And I hate to see $209,000 go into something, and all of a sudden they go, we can't fix them sinkholes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, everything. And and of course this came to my mind when Helen was mentioning regulations. We don't have time to check out every so many decisions we have to make every day. You don't have time to go back and check the background. Well, why this or why that? And so you want to think that our legislators up there are looking out for us and doing things in our interest that protect us, as Helen says. And when you start doing away with regulations, those regulations got passed in the first place for a good reason, or they wouldn't be there. And just to see them done away with, it just puts us at risk, and for money. It goes back to the companies that are benefiting are wealthy people, not small business even, but it goes back to money. Who's got the money?
Right. We're quickly coming out of time. If somebody wants to jump in with something, they need to do so really quick. And another totally off the subject, it hit me when you brought it up, Sesame Street earlier. And they're adding a new character to Sesame Street. It's coming
with autism.
Yeah, it's supposed to be coming the first of the month or something like that, I think. Which it's going to be kind of interesting.
Yeah, it exposes children to things that they would never be exposed to. I totally agree with you there. I wanted to say one more thing about the environment. The good people of Greenhaw changed my mind about the quarry, and these were people saying, not in my backyard. We're not against progress, we're not against, jobs or whatever, but they did not want that in their backyard. And I hope that people also will sympathize with the protesters at Standing Rock, who also said, not in my backyard. We don't want this pipeline going through our water and possibly, leaking into our water. And just like the people in Greenhaw were going against a pretty powerful and moneyed interest, on the county level, the Standing Rock Sioux protesters, were going against big oil companies. And I think, and okay, here's one more regulation that has been taken off of big oil companies. This is HJ Resolution 41. Oil companies will no longer have to reveal, these are oil companies that work in foreign countries, like, who are drilling in Africa, Saudi, the Middle East, countries where there are some bad hombres, as Trump likes to say. These oil companies will no longer have to reveal to whom or how much they are paying to actors in foreign countries where they are drilling for oil. These people can be warlords. These people can be terrorists. So how is that helping the forgotten man, as Trump likes to say? How is he helping the forgotten man with these regulations? Okay, big oil companies working in foreign countries can pay off money to warlords or other people and not have to reveal that to the government. These are the regulations that they are getting rid of. Workplaces that have a history of wage theft and workplace safety violations are no longer going to get in trouble for that. Okay. It says that it's hard. HR 785. It overturns the Fair Pay and Safe Workplace Act. Okay, if you are a worker, that to you is a protection. If you are a big employer, I guess that's a regulation. But it's saying that it makes it harder for companies with a history of wage theft and workplace safety violations to get federal contracts. So the Trump administration is saying, even if you have workplace safety issues, even if you have wage theft history, you can still get a federal contract. We're not going to penalize you in any way. So all of these regulations I'm seeing him overturning are favoring big business and hurting workers and consumers. And he promised that he was going to make life better for the little guy, for the forgotten man. And he's not, y'all. He is out for the billionaires because that's what he has always been and all he knows. And I hope people will figure out what's going on. This administration is not out to help you. It is out to plunder and make as much money as they can for them and their buddies. And it's a sad thing. It really is.
Yes, just watch, and I've said it before, just look at what our legislature in Nashville does.
See who's benefiting.
See who's benefiting, yes. See who actually benefits from what they're doing and follow the money. On the national level, I keep looking for something that the Trump administration is doing, or even he, that's actually helping people. So many people that voted for him that thought, oh, he's gonna bring back good jobs, and we'll have this good and that good. We're gonna have insurance because he promised that everybody would have insurance. Democrats over the years traditionally have had in mind and taken care of, I call it the little people, the ordinary working human people. I think about actually my next door neighbors and people that I know, my family, when you think about politics. So come get with the Democratic Party. We're down right now. We've been sort of demagogued into, but the few of us that actively participate now, we're strong Democrats. We're hanging in there, and I promise you, you can feel good about what you do as a Democrat because we take care of people, and we don't cater to just people with money.
And Nancy, can I say one more thing? It's not that we want to take care of you, like you don't have to do anything and the government will come give you everything you want. No, that is not what we want. What we want is that you can have your job and your boss is not allowed to do wage theft. We just want things to be fair, okay? Right. We want things to just be fair so that you can go out and make a living and not be treated unfairly by your employer, that you can make a living wage and provide for yourself, because nobody wants charity. Nobody wants stuff given to them. They want a fair playing field so that they can go out and companies can't screw them. Their phone company can't screw them. Their environment is clean. they have a decent education, and they have the opportunity to make their own way in the world in a fair system, not just be given stuff. Now, Meals on Wheels, yeah, that's just giving people stuff, but it's the right thing to do. But most people don't need to have stuff given to them. They just need a fair playing field so that they can provide for themselves, you know, and not have to spend all their money on healthcare. Like I said, in my family, I just did my taxes, and I figured out that we spent, in my family of 5, $15,000 this year on health insurance premiums and health care. That's for dental, everything. $15,000 a year, that's what I'm spending. You know, a typical Canadian family, yeah, maybe they would pay, say, $2,000 more a year in taxes, but I'd rather spend that than $15,000. And that's a typical year for my family. That's what it was this year. So, yeah, I could spend, say, maybe $2,000 more in taxes and then not spend all that, whatever. Are we running out of time?
You're okay at this point, but once again, your reorganizational meeting is coming up April 1st.
April 1st is reorganization, and as Helen says, we'll be electing new officers. I will be glad for somebody to take over as the, quote, chair of the party for the next 2 years. I want to, knowing that it's going to be even harder out there for people with health care issues, I want to double down as much as I can, learning everything I can about health care, Medicaid, TennCare, insurance, and help people with health care. It's complicated. It's just so needful right now. Mm-hmm. So come and get involved, and you'll be glad you did. It'll make you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks, ladies, for coming out, and we'll see somebody in 2 weeks.
Yep, somebody. All right.
Somebody in 2 weeks. All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.